my talk for today is about trust. Well, it's about freedom. Well, it's about peace. And the thing that I realized that hit me yesterday was this is the new triangle. We all know the old triangle, victim, perpetrator, savior. The new triangle is trust, freedom, and peace. Because it turns out you can't have one without the others. That it takes all three to be in that triangle. Or else you're in the other triangle. And when I saw that, when that occurred to me and I was with that, I was like, wow, this is really what it is we do here. What we do here is work towards, have these classes, have these spiritual practices, everything we're doing to get into the triangle of trust, freedom, and peace. So Ash is teaching this class on wholeness. And we have this saying in our movement that goes, there is nothing to be healed, only truth to be revealed. There is nothing to be healed, only truth to be revealed. Except if you get a diagnosis or your relationship's fallen apart or you've lost your job, it sure feels like something needs to be healed, shifted, or changed. It sure feels that way in that moment, right? Or am I the only one? Right? You get involved in something like that, you have something happen, you fall, you break your leg, or all these things, and it looks like healing really needs to happen. So how does that work? How does that work that actually there's nothing to be healed, only truth to be revealed? That wholeness is something to uncover, not to get to. How does that actually work? And how it works is that we awaken to it. That we see into the experience of what it is that's going on, what it is that's happening for us with new eyes. That leads us into this new triangle. That without these new eyes, we are stuck in the old one. That it takes something new. But here's the interesting part about this. And I read this earlier in the week, and it really struck me. It was a treatise by Carl Jung. He said that his experience was that when someone has a spiritual awakening, they are not immediately fired up with new purpose. That in actuality, what happens in that moment is they fall into a void. Once you've actually awakened to the fact that everything here is an illusion and we're just making it up, that the meaning we give to everything is the meaning we're giving to it. Nothing has intrinsic meaning. Once you've actually had that experience to the point at which it really lands, not like a fleeting, I got there on a psychedelic trip or a weekend workshop where later in the week it actually winds up wearing off. There you're getting glimpses. But when you get to a place of where it actually fully lands, the first thing that happens, according to Carl Jung, and my personal experience, is you fall into a void of, then so what? Then what am I doing here? And what's the point? That it can actually feel what he called spiritual depression. That happens first. Now I'm teaching this class called The Places That Scare You, and the thing in it that I loved most about the book Well, I'm not teaching a class. We're just doing a book study together, really. And I'm teaching it with Ash. Whew, got there. Okay, good. And my date night might still work out. Where was I? Okay. The places that scare me. Groundlessness is what the book's about. It's all about groundlessness, that place where we begin to become spiritually aware, but we haven't fully gotten to the place of ground that develops organically by itself. There's this whole huge space, and I am just noticing how huge that space is in time and space because I'm still walking through it myself. I have way more time in the other side of it, knowing what's true for me and acting out of that place of true expression that is my spiritual essence here. I get that, but then I also have these moments where I get caught in a drama with everybody else and then get lost in the middle of those two things and notice that the years it's taken when I'm in this middle space, it is understandable, as Carl Jung said, why so many people go back to the way they were, because at least there was ground there. That is that uncomfortability, that sense of unsafeness that leads us to not grow. And it's a huge space. It has been for me. It's not like this, easy crossing bridge kind of thing, right? It's an abyss that I keep building a bridge over step by step by step. And then some of that bridge collapses, and then I got to start again. Step by step by step. And sometimes I make it to the other side. I'm like, I made it. And then something else happens, and I'm back over here. Or I'm back in the middle. And so there's this way in which we grow our consciousness into something new that is incredibly scary. It feels unsafe. It feels unreal. It can leave us feeling like, what do I actually trust? And yet trust is the key to the door that leads to the other side. That the only time I find myself not moving forward is when I have lost that key of trust. Now, when I'm talking about trust, I am not talking about if a bus is heading straight for you, trust that it won't hit you. That is not the trust I'm talking about. Get out of the way. But there is a way when we get a diagnosis, when our relationship looks like it's falling apart, when we've lost our job, when things look like they're falling apart, that if we can be in a place of this too is for my good, this too I can trust is giving me an opportunity to rise into this new place of being. If I can hold that, the better I can hold that, the more I practice holding that, because God knows it takes a lot of practice. I've been practicing this stuff for 50 years in some ways. Takes a lot of practice. And so, but if you keep at it, you notice that the foundation, and so instead of building this bridge over this abyss, what I notice is that the foundation I'm building, it gets stronger and stronger in the midst of it. I've mentioned that before. I don't fall as far when I feel like I'm falling like I used to. when something happens and I immediately react to it or respond to it, even if I think I'm responding to it, right? There's this whole thing in our movement of the difference between reacting and responding. But the responding is still can be about by me, can be about fixing it, rather than trusting in it, that it's offering you an opportunity you may not have even known was possible previously. This is what's going on here. And so you come into this teaching, we all come into this teaching, and we start taking these classes. And maybe when we started, we felt like victims to the life, that life is just happening to us. And so we take some classes and we start doing spiritual mind treatment. It doesn't automatically get us to the through me place, which is the third kingdom of consciousness. A lot of times we're doing treatment because we want something to change. We want to fix it. And we think now treatment's going to do it for us. And so we're still in that by me place. And that's what happens when we first get involved in this teaching, is we take these teachings and we apply them to the same consciousness we walked in with until it starts to shift a little bit. It starts to shift a little bit. And then we start to notice, wait a minute, there's something more going on here that maybe I have no control of at all. That in fact, I have no control over it all. And yet, there's a creativity here, a possibility here that I can allow to grow like my garden. Because you cannot, no matter how much you try, get in there and force your plants to grow. This is exactly true with your consciousness. This is exactly true with how, when we trust, something comes up that we didn't even expect. We didn't even know was coming. And yet, we're so happy to see it. And now we're in through me consciousness. And now we're starting to allow, we're getting into this teaching. That's what the wholeness class is about, is getting to that level of I can know that what I am unveiling here in myself is a wholeness that was already there, that has always been there, that has to always have been there, because that's who I am. That's who you are. This is who we are, is these people who come to this planet to have this spiritual experience, to have this human experience that can be so spiritual and awe-filled in all its wonder. And yet, we get caught up in this isn't working the way I thought it would. So that means it's not working. Instead of, whoa, what is the magic here? What is the awe here? Where is my wholeness in this? Because I'm whole, even when the doctor tells me I'm not. Even when my own body is trying to tell me I'm not. And I don't know about you, but at 70, my body tells me all the time how maybe I'm not as whole as I think I am. And I'm always like, no, that isn't the truth about me. And I'm not holding it that way. And so we work in this place of groundlessness when we start to awaken. And it's incredibly uncomfortable. I get up here all the time and I say the side effects of being awakened are love, compassion, care, wanting to be of service. That these are side effects of being awakened, and it's true, but not at first. And I really skipped over that step with you guys. And so part of my talk for today is to straighten that out. That there is this other place before, when all we are is scared in our awakening. And if you've never experienced that kind of afraid, that kind of fear around, oh my God, if all of this is an illusion, then what the heck is going on? What does any of this really mean? You will if you keep taking classes here. The day will come when you will experience that level of fear. And when it happens, I want you to know that's a sign you're on the right track. That is not something to run away from. And yet so many people do. When they feel that in themselves, that level of fear of, wait a minute, this is not turning out the way I'd hoped. This is not what I wanted to experience. This is not looking like whatever I thought. So that means this isn't working. I need to do something else. I need a better plan. That's what most folks do in those moments. There's a greater way to be with it all. But it's not easy. It's not easy. That's the thing about this work. It's not easy. This is not for the faint of heart. We're not here. You know, there's a saying about ministers that we are here to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comforted. I live by that. That's why it's good sometimes that Ash and I are doing this together, because she's more comforting the afflicted, I'm more afflicting the comforted. So it's good when we do classes together. Our class. So there we are, right? In this the ability to come into a new triangle. Trust, freedom, peace. You can't be in there without all three. If you trust, you got to trust to have peace. You got to trust to have freedom. One of the things that we do in life is to protect ourselves, is we try to control our environment, try to control our lives, try to manage the little things, manage anything, right? And then we get thrown so easily in all that. We set up a day. We're going to go have a day. Maybe you've had this experience, right? Where you have your day all planned out. You start down your road doing that day you had planned out. And then something happens. The car breaks down. You get a call saying, hey, I need your help doing something else. Something happens. And it changes your day that you had so well planned out. Do you go into trust? Or do you go into, wait a minute, this is the day I had, I'm not letting anything interfere with it, and I'm moving forward with it just the way it is? Or am I the only one who's done that? That's our choice. And that choice makes all the difference in moving forward, opening and breathing into something, okay, this is what's happening now. I don't need to control this. I need to trust in this new thing that came up that I didn't expect because I had this day planned out. Or you have a project, and you're going along on your project. God, I can't tell you how many times this has happened to me, where I'm going ahead on a project, and the thing that gives me the hardest time is the thing I thought would give me the easiest time. That now I'm stuck in something that I thought was going to be, this was the easy part, and it didn't turn out to be that way. And I watched in the past how my frustration around those moments would skyrocket. Of course, I'm the only one in here who's ever experienced frustration. And now I'm at a place where if I even feel that frustration start to rise, I go, oh, that's the other side of the bridge. That's not the side I want to be on. That's the other side. So how can I be here now? Be with this now and go, okay, this is what's happening now. This is what's happening now. Breathe into that for a second with me. This is what's happening now. That's all. And in some way, I can trust that this is exactly what was supposed to happen now, since it is. What's happening? See if you can feel into that place of, since this is happening, this must be what's supposed to happen. And then from that place, breathe into trust. Does that mean don't take any action? No. Please don't take away from this that I'm saying just sit there and do nothing. I have no idea what will be yours to do in that moment. I do know that any time I am able to sit in trust in that moment, what emerges is something new and beautiful that I had not thought of before. That's what's possible. And that's really the heart of what we teach here, is how to get to a place where you can experience in your life that sense of whatever opportunity arises for you, to feel it in a place of beauty, to feel it as, oh, I get to respond differently here. I get to react differently. I get to take action different. I get to allow for something I might never have ever allowed before. And in that is freedom. When I experience that level of trust, I am free from whatever I thought I was bound to about what was happening. I am now free of it, free to experience being there with it instead of worrying about the result. Worry is a prison that we can free ourselves from through trust. Worry is a prison. Concern is a prison that we can free ourselves from with trust. And I don't know if you've noticed, but whenever you're in that trusting place and feeling free, it's incredibly peaceful. That's what's possible. I hear people talk about peace all the time, and what they're really doing is trying to control their environment, thinking that's what's going to give them peace. If I could just get that dog to stop barking, I would be peaceful. Yeah, I've said that. But when I get beyond that, I realize that his barking is part of my peace. And I trust that it's everything that's going on is in my meditation. I've gotten really good at that lately. To whatever is happening, to go, oh, this is now part of my meditation too. This is now in my meditation. This is now in my presence. Whatever it is. And the more I do that, the freer I feel. I don't feel imprisoned by all the thoughts that used to imprison me around, I have to fix this, I have to make this better, I have to do this, I got to do that. They start to melt away, which doesn't mean I don't take any action. You just saw me take one right up here when I remembered to say our. Finally. So this is not about not taking action. This is about believing in ourselves enough. Believing in life itself enough. You are a powerful, creative, spiritual being, and in you is everything you need for every opportunity that comes your way. If something is in your life, it is supposed to be there because that's what is. And thus, you have the resources to be with it in a good way. Trust that. If you can, your life will rise. If you can trust, you will be free. If you feel free, you will feel peace. This is the new triangle. This is what I offer you today. I love you very much. Thank you.